Grabando.
Have you read the papers lately? Have you heard the news? Do you wonder if there's anything that you can do? Oh, change you wanna see. Now's the time to let it be. Starting here, starting now. Trust your heart to show you how you can be the change. If you wanna see the change, you gotta be the change that you wanna see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Plant a flower, watch it grow. You will reap what you sow. Put that smile on your face. Make the world a better place. You gotta be the change. If you wanna see the change, you gotta be the change that you wanna see. Yeah, I believe it's possible to live in harmony. Yeah, making music in a universal band. Yes, we can. Every tribe and every religion in every land, we can live together. Yes, we can. Ooh, be the change. If you wanna see the change, well then you gotta be the change that you wanna see. Hey, hey, yeah. You gotta be it, the change. Well, if you wanna see it, the change, you gotta be it, the change. Change that you wanna see. Come on, be it, the change. You know you want to see it, the change. Hey, you wanna be it, the change. Gotta be it. Come on, stand up and be it, the change. Stand up, you gotta be it, the change.
Hello, everyone. This is Reverend Jerry Hobby, and I'm just so happy to be with you today. Boy, are we bright today. I'm looking out. I see Jim. It's all bright and everything, and he's out in nature, hanging out in nature. And you guys probably noticed that I'm surrounded by the babies. And these babies are a representation of humanity. I just want to call them, if we could use our imagination and see how fertile and beautiful that we are. And I'm just so happy that we have a chance to come together and be together today in a very special way. This is our Sunday power talk and prayer time. I almost said prayer hour. I'm hearing Robert Schuller, his energy and his vibration. And I so enjoyed his consciousness as he walked the earth and the wonderful, beautiful things that he had to share with us. One of my favorite books is Tough Times Don't Last, but Tough People Do. And when he was saying tough people, people of strength and power. And I just want to remind us all about that. We've had a horrendous week. It's been quite a bit has happened. Whether we're here in this country or whether we are just observers. So today we're going to be talking about being grounded. We're going to be talking about our foundation, and I'm talking about spiritual grounding and spiritual foundation to support us in our growth and our evolution. So, as we begin, I'm going to invite Catherine Redmond, who's a member of our leadership, and I'm inviting her to share her words of wisdom with us.
My reading is from 365 Days of Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. In today's reading, I thought was appropriate. It says, I accept the divine gift. The Spirit itself heareth witness with our spirit. and that we are children of God. That's from Romans 8:16. And it says affirmative prayer means that we clear the mind of all doubt and fear and turn in faith to the great giver of life. It means that we become aware of the presence of God within and around us, here and now. It means that we affirm this presence and accept it quietly, calmly, peacefully, in all its fullness. I now let go of very anxious thoughts. I now surrender any doubt or fear into the great love or great heart of love. I look out upon the world and say that it is my world because it is God's world. I think of all people as my friends because they live and move and have their being in the Father of us all. I now receive confidence and inspiration from the source of all life. I believe that love is guiding me. I believe that there is divine power that goes before me and makes perfect my way in joy and happiness. I believe this power is flowing through me to the joy and happiness of those around me. I have faith, conviction, and assurance that cannot be moved, for I am established in a love that envelopes everything I contact and every person I meet. I have a friend who knows all my needs. I accept that life he has implanted on me, and this life reaches out to everything around me in joy and gladness, and with the blessed assurance that all is well. And believing that God is love, I affirm that there is nothing in me that could hurt or harm or hinder those around me from entering into the fullness of their own joy, into the completeness of their own expression, into the perfection that they are.
Thank you, Kathy. What a mouthful of words, a mouthful of wisdom, hard work, something that we can probably go back to and listen to again and again and again. There is a richness to that because that power does dwell within us. And not only does that power dwell within us, that power is the part that strengthens us and supports us in moving forward. I love the words, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And this is a time where we get to be strengthened, and our spiritual strength is the most important part of what it is that we may be moving through right now. And I'm talking about this personally in our lives, as well as everything that is happening globally for humanity right now. Thank you very much. And we have our wonderful curator of our prayer app. And I'm going to invite you guys, first of all, I just have to say, I'm just hearing the wisdom of myself as a child and how I had these wonderful beings in my life that would whisper in my ear. And they would whisper, prayer changes things. And I'm inviting you, that's one of my favorite spiritual practices. It is one of my favorite spiritual practices. So we have a curator, and we want to be the change. And part of our being the change right now is supporting people in a healthy way. And I want to say there's power in prayer. It will bring balance, it will bring harmony, it will support us in moving through whatever it is we're moving through. And I'm going to share these words with you. They come from Romans. If God be for us, then who or what can be against us? So I just want to say that. I'm going to introduce our curator, practitioner, and member of our leadership council, Jim Thompson.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Very wise words. And I have some more for you. And I think we're all doing Ernest Holmes Day, which is wonderful because, it's the first of the year. We always start off with grounding ourselves in principle. And after all that's happened this week, I saw this reading. And of course, I was, me, I go through my plethora of reading material here. And I was like, well, what needs to be spoken here? And so this morning, I I found on page 478 in the Science of Mind textbook, and this is from the teachings of Jesus, and it reminded me of exactly what needed to be said. And the title of it is "Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled," which is from John 14:1. He says, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me." His disciples were depressed, having an instinctive sense that Jesus was about to depart from them. They were filled with sadness. It was on the eve of his betrayal that he spoke these words, "Let not your heart be troubled." With that calm certainty, which has never been given to the believing, he was not afraid. He had already plumbed the depths of the human experience and penetrated into the beyond. He knew that he was an immortal being. Our hearts are troubled over many things, and our mental burdens often become unbearable. It seems, at times, as though a cup of bitterness were being held to unwilling lips, with the demand that they drink. Jesus, standing at the threshold of his greatest experience, foreknew that he would turn apparent defeat into glorious victory. From the calm depths of the undisturbed soul, he spoke words of comfort to those of lesser understanding. He told them to believe in God, and because of their belief in God, to believe in him. Again, he is referring to the individual I, the outward manifestation of the universal I am. We are to believe in ourselves because we believe in God. The two are one. We are to know that passing events cannot hinder the onward march of the soul. The temporal imperfection of the human cannot dim the eternal integrity of the divine.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jim. Very powerful, very, very powerful. And it is those words, I'm hoping that they penetrate the deep recesses of our being today. Doesn't matter where we're at on the spectrum in terms of these teachings or our learning. It is important for us to keep our hearts open and primed. And this is the reason we start off with going back to basics and the foundation is to anchor ourselves. And as we move forward in anchoring ourselves, it fortifies our faith. So when we're praying, our theme for our prayers this month is we're using the 12 powers in honor of Jim, our curator, because he's just excited and enamored by the 12 powers. So the first of the 12 powers is faith. And faith is perceiving and intuitively opening ourselves up from within and allowing faith to be the essence of our life. Myrtle Fillmore tells us that a prayer of faith will take you a long way. Ernest Holmes says the same thing. And this is part of our moving forward. It's part of our experiencing success because we're anchoring into that space. And, you know, I have this belief we should set everyone up to succeed. Part of that means that we get to be a tipping point. We get to be influencers of the truth. So this morning, I'm going to share a couple of readings with you. First of all, part of that is, and what Jesus taught was the value of having a pure heart. Now, the interesting thing about our teachings is we are such, we find truth everywhere. We read all the sacred texts, all the holy books, and we find the thread of truth because this is the most important part, to find the thread of truth and to focus on that thread of truth. When you focus on that thread of truth will continue to expand and enlarge itself within your life and within your experience. So we're talking about moving beyond, we're talking about timeless wisdom, and we are also talking about allowing ourselves to be spiritually anchored and grounded. So I want to share this with you, and this comes from my Lord, A Pure Heart by Swami Chivananda. And forgive me if I did not say that correctly, his name. But it says the pure heart. And he says this: how do we draw near the goal of our seeking? As an answer to that, we have turned to a line from a poem by one of the saints. My Lord loves a pure heart. This sublime phrase, this song of the soul, is a message of all human beings. It is an invitation to those who are just setting out on the spiritual path, and an inspired piece of advice for anyone already walking the path of God. These words come from Kabir, an enlightened master who lived in the 15th century in Benares, one of the holiest cities of India. Very little is known about Kabir's life. His birth was not recorded, and his whole existence is surrounded by a legend. Most of what we know about him, we have learned from his poems, and they rarely describe the circumstances or events of his life. Kabir sang about the inner words. He was tireless in his efforts to help Hindus and Muslims live together in harmony. In fact, to this day, Hindus believe Kabir was Hindu, and the Muslims call him a Muslim. But the truth is, no one knows what Kabir's religious preference was. He embraced the Lord and gave his love to everyone with absolute purity. The century in which Kabir lived was also turbulent. People of different religions despised one another and destroyed one another, all in the name of God. So it was extremely significant when someone like Kabir disengaged himself from these unending conflicts and experienced the pure purpose of life. In the first line of his poem, Kabir says, Rama, the Lord has possessed me. Hari, the beloved Lord has enchanted me. This is not something that happens by accident. Kabir gave himself to the highest authority, to the highest power. He allowed himself to be enchanted by the Lord. It took a great deal of courage courage in those days to turn one's back on the conventions of race and caste. It was much more convenient, much less dangerous to go along with the old arguments and take sides. But it was not God's way, and God was what Kabir wanted. So when he says, my Lord loves a pure heart, Kabir is speaking from some experience. He struggles and he strived. He makes it very clear to know the ecstasy of God's beauty, God's love. Your heart has to be immaculate and very strong. Love itself is so pure that only a pure heart can sustain its experience. So, as I'm sharing this with you today, I want you to just open your hearts wider than you have ever opened it before. Ricky Byers wrote the song, God Will Work Through an Open Heart. And it is important for us to be open hearted right now in terms of allowing that presence to go before us and prepare the way. It primes the pump. It lowers that threshold within us of resistance, and it creates a space for the opening. Catherine and I were having a conversation this week, and in our conversation, we were talking about moving forward and releasing and removing blockages. The removal of our blockages start when we are able to open our hearts and allow for the warming of the heart. And when you warm the heart, then you open the space for more good. That's the reason spiritual practices are very important. So I woke up this morning, you got to have a pure heart. And part of my spiritual practice is just allowing spirit to do what spirit needs to do with me. So I sit and I study and I do my work, and then I go to sleep. And what happens is I might go to sleep and spirit may begin to work with me when I'm sleeping, because the spirit is always at work. And when we're resting, our consciousness is at work. It knows what to do and how to do it in the right way. It's a matter of how we use it, how we allow ourselves to be that beneficial presence for ourselves, because we got to take care of ourselves first in order for us to move out into the world. And so I went to sleep last night. I was sleeping, I was dreaming, I was doing all of those wonderful things. And while I was asleep, I can understand what Kabir was saying, because Spirit was whispering its wonderfulness within my ear. And in that wonderfulness of my ear, there came the words of Ernest Holmes. I said, "Oh my God." People read to me all the time and they share quotes with me and things by Ernest Holmes. And I say, "Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites." But today, I want to share with you one of my most favorites from Ernest Holmes. And it is about the promise, because it starts with the promise. And that promise is a commitment or a vow that you make to yourself. So he says, "I keep the promise. I shall keep the promise I made to myself. I shall never tell myself I am poor, I am sick, I am weak, nor unhappy. I shall not lie to myself anymore, but shall daily speak the truth to my inner soul, telling it that it is wonderful and marvelous, that it is one with the great cause of all life, truth, power, and action. I shall whisper these things into my soul until it breaks forth into the songs of joy with the realization of its limitless potential. I shall assure my soul." So I'm sharing with you today that the universe, humanity, needs to be awakened. And part of that awakening starts with each and every one of us. Tina Meeks says, "Be the change." If you were here earlier, our opening song came from Tina Meeks, and it was about being the change. Well, that change is a very powerful thing. And part of that requires that we move out of a place of lethargy. Emerson called it apathy. And that lethargy has to do with not doing our inner work. People used to call it, when I was growing up, lazy. And you know what I did? I said, "Oh, we won't be using that word. I'll never use that with the offsprings that come with me. This is part of that upgrade. That's part of the promise. I will never use that word." The other word is stupid. I said, well, anybody knows anything about me. I actually had a ceremony and I brought kids together because I got tired of them saying that word stupid. And we corrected a lot of adults in that word stupid, because these are things that we're telling ourselves and the world about itself that are not true. The most important thing is for us to be that vehicle where, as spirit whispers in our ear, and spirit only whispers the good stuff. I just want you to know it whispers the good stuff. Now, we need to be discerning about the things we interpret in the outer world. We definitely are inlets of God. If you're paying attention to Kathy's Corner, that was one of the things, the inspirations from Kathy's Corner this week. We are inlets and we are outlets of God, but sometimes we send a lot of bloated nothingness out into the world. It creates a lot of confusion. So it is important for us to be very mindful and take good care of ourselves. And taking good care of ourselves means that we must nurture, we must warm our heart, we must sow the seeds of love and release any sense of separation. I want you to hear that part. That is an important part of our healing process. And when we begin to release those forms of separation, we open ourselves up to good. So I'm going to just let you know there are a couple of things that are really important in terms of having in um, your arsenal of self-care. Spiritual care and groundedness is the power of prayer and the power of meditation. This past week, I'm so proud. I was sitting and there was a chat going on. This chat was going on, and my phone was just blowing up. And when I say it was blowing up, people were messaging back and forth. And it came from one of our Power 8 groups. We started this Power 8 group about 3 or 4 years ago. We started with I think we started with 4 groups and we ended up with 2 that are standing strong. We have a peace group that meets on Mondays. We have a prosperity group that meets on Wednesday. And we were, as I was prepping, they sent some notes to remind us that about our job, and our job is to know peace, to see peace, and to just continue to sow that seed. And as we sow the seed within ourselves, you know what? Spirit works with us. Spirit puts us in the right place in the right way to share the right things in the right way. We don't have to make things happen. We just get to be open. But when you are practicing, I want you to be practicing. That's the reason we say there is value in spiritual practice. When you become, I hear a lot of people, I'm a practicing this, I'm a practicing that. I want you to be a practicing spiritual practice person. And when you are a practicing spiritual practice person, any adversity you come in contact with, it just shows up. I love the story, and it still resonates in my heart. Many years ago, we saw this movie. My husband and I, we love to watch movies, and sometimes we get caught up in movie series. And this was the music was just so good, and it was about this group that was they knew how to wrestle, and historically it was a group, it was a nomadic group, and I can't think of the name of it at the moment, but it talked about the struggles in life, the struggles in your different religions, Christianity, Islam, everything. But what was so interesting was they had this wonderful person that was a Sufi master, and he traveled everywhere and he was just working through everything. But the most important thing he would do is pray, pray, pray. I want us to be able to pray, pray, pray. I want us to pray when we're walking. I want us to pray with our spoken word when we are starting to converse with people. I want us to be. But being has to come from the place of the heart. And when you come from the place of the heart, when you encounter conflicts, you just anchor in spirit, and spirit will guide you. Spirit will say the right things in the right way, or spirit will move you out of that situation. So I want you to cultivate that relationship. That's the reason we continue to bring spiritual practice to you. This is part of my way of really supporting you. I think about the song, If I Could, I'd protect you from The sadness in your eyes. That's a beautiful song. Barbara Streisand sings that song. I think Vanessa Bell Armstrong sings that song too. It's about creating a space that is safe for us all. We're cradling humanity right now. And because we're cradling humanity, it's important for us to stay anchored in that space of principle, in the space of love, and allow that to be your guidepost as you move out into the world. And I want you to know that everywhere you look, you're looking at the face of love. Jewel talks about looking at the face of love. You look at the face of love everywhere, even where there appears to be hurt, harm, symbols. And I'm going to tell you, for me this past week, I got an opportunity to see some symbols that I wish I would never have seen. But we get to anchor in that space of love, go back to principle. And when you go back to principle and you anchor in principle and you continue to sow the seed of love, you create a space for healing. So, with that in mind, I'm going to invite Jim right now to share a song before I go into prayer. This is a song by Carl Anthony, and I think you need to hear this song. It's called The Prayer.
If I had one prayer, I'd pray for people who hate. Maybe I'm out of my mind or deep in my faith. A man grows old when his soul's in pain. Only love can loosen that chain. But if I offer you grace, will it cause any change? And do I appear weak if I calm my rage? I think of revenge, but will I become the thing I despise when a heart goes numb? I'll say a prayer, hoping it finds people who hate. I send it now to heal the hearts of people who hate. If only one song could silence hate and end all the war before it's too late. If a cold mind could begin to feel, then the fear in our world has a chance to heal. I'll say a prayer, knowing it finds people who hate. I send it now to heal the hearts of people who hate. Pray for people who hate. For the power of love is larger than rage. When we take revenge, we will become the hate we despise as our soul goes numb. I have one prayer for the world to hear. It's a cry for mercy, last of our tears. let hate dissolve. Let the past reveal that love has shown us what is real.
Angels above, quiet the pain in people who hate. I'm sending one prayer to heal the hearts in people who hate.
Pray for people who hate.
May all be loved. May all be blessed. May all feel peace.
Pray for people who hate.
May all be loved. May all be blessed. May all feel peace.
Pray for people who hate.
May all be loved. May all be blessed. May all feel peace.
I'm sending love to people who hate. I must be out of my mind or deep in my face.
I'm just inviting you right now to just take a breath. And as we breathe in right now, we're just breathing into the heart space. And I just want you to imagine with heart-focused breathing, your breath sweeping through your heart. I'm inviting you right now to just anchor in the space of love, in that space of divine awareness, where the divine expands itself and reveals itself, where the presence of love fulfills itself as light itself. It is that fertile presence that fulfills itself in every way. It is the planting of the seeds, and the seeds of light, the seed of love, the seed of peace, and the seeds of growth. And in this sacred awareness right here, right now, I simply remember the truth that this divine presence includes myself. And it includes every single person that is hearing this prayer and those that may not even hear the prayer, but will hear about it and that experience. Just as I shared the story about the Sufi, just in that space of perfect love, as we hear the stories of Jesus in his space of love and moving and overcoming adversity. I'm acknowledging that power at every point in every reference. And I'm allowing for that divine presence to be the light and the essence to move forward and to move backwards this morning, to be the consciousness of light that continues to expand and grow itself. And what I'm knowing is that the seed of wholeness, the seed of peace, and the seed of harmony fulfills itself, enriches itself, and blesses itself beyond that which we cannot even imagine. I know that in this very space, right here, right now, that there is this thing we call sacred love. And it is the sacred love that I know that fulfills itself. And so, what I'm speaking my word right now this morning, I'm knowing that it is this loving presence that fulfills itself beyond that which we cannot even imagine. And I know that a power and a presence has already gone before and personalized itself right now for each individual in their lives. That there is the soothing presence that releases any sense of pain, any sense of fear, any sense of separation. And what I know is that there is a power greater. And that power that is greater is the infinite power and the infinite possibilities. And I know that that infinite presence fulfills itself as the spirit of wholeness, revealing itself as perfect health. I know that it is that divine energy and that divine light expressing itself right now in all relationships, in our relationships with work, in our relationship with families, in our relationship with everyone in all of humanity. I'm acknowledging this sacred power. And as I acknowledge it, I know that there is no sense of lack, any sense of limitation, that every seeming need is met, that each and every one of us are prospered, and we continue to grow in our consciousness. We continue to leap in that presence of unconditional love. And it is this unconditional love, this unconditional power that fuels itself, reveals itself, and expresses itself. I know that it is this healing power right now, expanding itself and revealing itself as a collective for all of humanity. I'm knowing that it has already fortified itself and that we turn towards that which we know to be true, that in a world and a space that works for everyone and everything, we're turning towards good. And I know that that good is that divine light. And I know that it is alive right now, wherever we take our attention, in any situation, whether it is in our workplace, whether it is in our family, whether it is just interacting with society. And I know most especially that it is alive right now within all of our world leaders, that they are all divinely guided. I know that it is alive right now in the transitions that are taking place in leadership. I know that the grace of the divine is the heart in each individual. And I know that that grace of the divine fulfills itself and sows the seed of perfect love, perfect peace, a purity of heart that Kabir spoke of, that our wonderful Carl Anthony spoke of. And it is the change that we have been called to be. It is the change that we have been called to express. But what I know is that in this space of warmth, in this space of perfect love, that there is the rising of spirit, the rising of good, and that good continues to grow and express itself personally within our lives. So I'm so grateful this morning, grateful for the divine expressing itself, fulfilling itself, and particularizing itself through each and every one of us. I'm grateful for the gifts of spirit and all the wonderful things that fulfill themselves right here and right now, and even the more that we're unaware of. But what I know is it is perpetual. It continues to grow and it continues to express itself. And it is the most consistent and persistent essence of life because it is the working of love and law, the greatest romance that the world could ever experience, integrated with each other. And I know that love is the divine essence that points the way, and that it is universal law that fulfills itself as that perfect lover, the perfect suitor, saying, yes, yes, yes. This is what I know that is taking place right now, universally and personally, within my life and every single person's life. So it is in this space right here. And if you're here in our prayer room right now, I'm inviting you to unmute yourself because I want you to repeat after me. And so it is.
So it is.
And so it
Amen.
is.
Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Amen. Ashe.
We've activated this truth, and it is so. Thank you so much. I just want us to go and be that presence in the world. As you are moving into this new year, I want you to stick with yourselves. I want you to be present with yourselves. Continue to do your work and know we're here to work with you. Sometimes we need someone. So I want you to call on us, use our prayer app, go to our site. We have a lot of great things that are happening. I'm going to seal this right now with a special song. This is a song by Sherry Williams. It was part of her TEDx experience in Temecula, but I think you need to hear this. It's dedicated to you, by the way.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming. This one's coming to an end. There's a new voice calling. You can hear it if you try. And it's growing stronger with each day that passes by. There's a brand new morning, rising clear and sweet and free. Yes, a new day is dawning that belongs to you and me. Yes, new world's coming, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love. There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming. This one's coming to an end. There's a new voice calling. You can hear it if you try, and it's growing stronger with each day that passes by. There's a brand new morning, rising clear and sweet and free. Yes, a new day is dawning that belongs to you and me.
the one we've had visions of. Coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love. Yes, the world's coming, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love.
So beautiful, so beautiful. I love that piece. And it's so appropriate for us today. So I want to thank you guys for being with us today. And there are a couple of announcements we want to make. And we've been smart. We've been busy and working with the things we really like to work with is technology. So I'm going to turn this over to Jim because Jim, I think you have a couple of things we want to share with everyone in terms of announcements. I think we have a message from Gracie, and there's also a message from Kathy. So can you just help us with that, please?
Yep.
Hello, my name is Gracie Alvarado, and I am a member of the Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focused Ministry leadership team. I serve as the Prosperity Manager, and my job is to manage the funds for the programs we bring to you. If you enjoyed this spiritual practice, please consider making a donation. You can make a one-time donation or a recurring donation. However, if you choose to make a recurring donation, we will give you a 6-month subscription to the Science of Mind magazine. Please visit us at seatfm.org to place your donation. I thank you in advance for your loving gift.
Hello, everybody. This is Reverend Jerry Hobby, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to just invite you to Dream Builder Live. This is just a wonderful experience. This is, of course, a virtual event, and it's coming up at the end of this month. And I'm inviting you to join us. And I have Catherine Redmond, who's a member of our Leadership Council. And what we have been doing is we've been inviting our leadership to participate in Dream Builders Live because a lot has happened in the world. And it's important that we continue to anchor ourselves spiritually and also support ourselves in terms of moving forward and sharpening our saw. All of those things are really, really important during this time period as we begin to move out of COVID, as we begin to, people say, get back to the business of living. Yes, this is that time where we get to move to a new level. And what experience has taught me is that it's important for us to sharpen our saw and to work on the things that are most important. Nurturing our spirit is very important. Being clear and having a clear picture of our dreams in all of the life areas does make a difference. Isn't that so, Kathy?
Oh, it sure does. I know I concentrated on my health this last year, and that was what I went to Dream Builders with the intention of doing during the last time I went. And I am now up and walking, And I, for a while there, was confined to that bed. So it really feels to be good to be up, moving around, and participating in life again. And that's just exactly what I wanted to share with everyone is that you get to participate in life at whatever it throws at you, but you need a plan. You need a way to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. And Mary brings that out so beautifully on how you start right where you're at with what you can do and go from there. And that is an invaluable lesson. And it doesn't just apply to your personal life, it can apply to your businesses, um, your careers, all kinds of things. So, I mean, I just really feel like everybody should do this Dream Builder Live virtual. And time is running out because it is at the end of the month this month. It's January 29th, 30th, and 31st. And um, last time they sold out
They
back
should.
in September.
Mhm.
And I couldn't get in again. So I went ahead and registered for Dream Builder Live virtual for this month. And it's just, you know, it's just a phenomenal opportunity.
I am so glad you did. Last time, Larry just got in under the wire, which was a true blessing. And as a matter of fact, what he's done is he's posted on Kathy's Corner, by the way, a note about the experience. He saw the Mary Morrissey message there in Kathy's Corner. And this is what he says. He says, I did Dream Builder Live with Mary Morrissey in October 2020, and I loved it. I met people from all over the world, and this experience stretched and expanded my dreams. I have participated in other programs of this caliber and invested way more money for this experience. I mean, for the price,
Oh, yes,
the price for us of 90, I believe it's $97.
it is.
And they're going to make sure they invest within Seat FM because of the people that we're bringing into this program so that we can continue to bring you quality programming. But Larry continues to say it was well worth the investment. He says, I highly recommend this experience to those who are ready for change and are ready to grow. So, for those people that have started new projects this year, I know some people of businesses they've started, it's only the beginning. And what I know is that you grow based on the stepping stones you choose to participate with and allow to support you. My prayer is that you will make the investment. $97, trust me, is worth the investment. Um, I have programs and major programs that I participate in, and my investment is $500 or more. And this would be one of those and more programs for what we're receiving. So I encourage you to join us with this Dream Builder Live program. Time is running out. They sold out quickly without notice. The word is out. It is a new year, new beginnings, and people who really know about growth, they people that are invested in their personal growth are going to seize the moment. So we're inviting you to seize the moment and join us at the end of the month for this experience. I'm doing it again, and it will be my fourth time doing it. Um, I have experienced quantum growth each time I do this. So I hope that you will join us too. Anything else, Kathy?
No, just please join us and meet lots of new people and expand your field of dreams.
Absolutely. We'll see you there. And speaking of Field of Dreams, Jim, I'm hoping you can open up the week. Not that one, but yes, we want people to know about that one. Did I send you another one? A link for, it's the MailChimp one. That is the link, by the way, that he was sharing with you. That link is the link you go to sign up. And that is for that event. And like I said, people are signing up right now. The exciting part is Larry has a new book, and his new book is Your Field of Dreams by Mary Morrissey. He decided that it would be good. This book is a book that was printed. She released this book back in the 90s, and it's a rarity. You can go and try and purchase it on, and just scroll down. Purchase it on Amazon.com. We have the link there. Building Your Field of Dreams, an excellent book, a wonderful way to nurture yourself. And this is starting on the 27th of the month, the last Wednesday of the month at 6:30. Join us for an hour. And I tell you that time, that hour, it's about sowing the seeds. Larry talks about being persistent and staying, continuing to just do things over and over and over. Consistency and persistency will move you forward. This is a good way to sow those seeds within your spirit. So I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity to be together in this particular way. And I invite you to come back to play with us again and again. And remember, if you need prayer, please utilize our prayer app, send in a prayer request. Jim gets bored and he really, okay? So I love you all.